How's it going, my fellow youngsters? My name is Youngster JPow and I'm back again with another UU tier match against a guy I found on Skype called ItsSuperKook. You should definitely go check him out. He's a great YouTuber who does quite a lot of Pokemon as well as other games. So yeah, I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. So yeah, looking at this team preview now, you can notice that the team I'm using is very similar to one I used last battle, with the exception of the Slowbro, who replaces the Blastoise with a very similar set, and I now have a choice banded Snorlax instead of my Arcanine. And we actually got chatting a little bit before this battle, and he was saying how his team building skills was a lot better than his predictions when playing competitively, and I can definitely see with his team preview, his team's looking extremely solid with the correct synergies going on defensively and offensively. So yeah, that's enough of me talking again. Let's go ahead and get straight into this battle. So, same as last time, I'm going to lead off with my Nidoqueen, who is the Stealth Rocker. I've now invested a lot more into HP and removed the speed EVs that I gave myself, and I'm predicting him to predict me to go for the Stealth Rocks. I fire off a offensive first turn Fire Blast, and looking at that damage, it tells me that this is probably a more physically defensive Registeel, as he gets his Stealth Rocks up on the first turn, which doesn't really matter too much for me. Having only my Zapdos being weak to the Stealth Rocks, so knowing that the Fire Blast is going to kill him off on the second turn, he decides to switch into his Meloetta as I get a free turn to get my Stealth Rocks as he switches in. So definitely a great first turn for me. Been able to get my Stealth Rocks up and nearly completely taken out his Registeel, who's otherwise a huge defensive threat to try and get around. As I bring in my Snorlax now, fearing the Stab Psychic type move from this Meloetta, knowing that he can't really do much against my Chesteress, who's actually a choice banded Snorlax, having that fair bit of natural special defensive bulk. You can see now that a +1 Psychic is near enough a 3-hit KO on my Snorlax, but actually completely over-predict here, knowing that his Psychics aren't going to do much against my Snorlax. I over-predict him to switch out, which you can be seen with me trying to Pursuit Trap him, which definitely doesn't go my way, and I'm now forced to switch out into my Slowbro, who can try and take the Psychic hits a lot better. I was actually a little bit scared here that he was going to have the Shadow Ball, but already seeing now that 3 of his moves, Protect, Calm Mind and Psychic, I'd be very surprised if he did carry the Shadow Ball. So I tried to get Toxic off on this Calm Minded Meloetta, as he instead brings out the Suicune, who I'm just sat thinking, yes, this is a great Pokemon to try and get some Toxic damage off, with Suicunes being huge defensive Pokemon. And I actually missed the Toxic as he switches it in, giving him a free switch into a Suicune, but it doesn't really matter at all, as I'm easily able to get the Toxic up on the second turn, as he ends up going second with the -6 priority in the form of Raw, who ends up sending my Slowbro out and dragging my Dr. Seuss in, who he didn't get a chance to see in the previous battle, but my Dr. Seuss is definitely the powerhouse of my team, with that modest 252 special attack and choice specs, as well as the adaptability, meaning that the tri-attacks I can fire off are going to hit the ×2 stab bonus instead of the ×1.5. So he actually switches out into his Meloetta, saving the Suicune, who can definitely take this tri-attack a lot better. This did surprise me. I was expected to get the KO from that range, but this does tell me that the Meloetta that he was using is a more specially defensive variant with the Calm Mind, and just doesn't kill, as he goes for Protect to try and bring him back up to the range after leftovers to survive another tri-attack, which is definitely not going to happen for him, as he withdraws his Meloetta, knowing that he doesn't have a Ghost-type Pokemon on his team. I can freely fire off another tri-attack on whoever he decides to switch in. So he ends up bringing this Registeel, even from the range that he's in, this huge defensive Pokemon is easily going to get taken out by the tri-attack, which ends up hitting for neutral damage due to the adaptability ability, as he now brings in his Hitmontop, get a free switch into him, and now fearing the fighting type move, I end up switching out into my fighting type Pokemon Check, which is my Dwemer, who can take fighting type and normal type moves for days, knowing that this Hitmontop is probably going to be a rapid spinner, as he shows me, which is definitely going to have no effect whatsoever on my Dwemer, being that ghost type. And I can now freely set up on his face and get a free substitute. And then fire off Earthquakes, Focus Punches and Shadow Punches for days with that Iron Fist ability. He actually shows me as the Sucker Punch, which is quite rare. I haven't really seen that too often whilst playing the UU on the Pokemon Online simulator, but instead knowing that as long as I can set up a substitute, there's nothing you can do apart from take out the substitutes and take damage from the Shadow Punches that I'm able to fire off. Thinking that the Shadow Punch would hit for more damage, being Iron Fist boosted, I go for the Shadow Punch, and on the following turn, knowing that I can easily set up another substitute, he knows this and actually goes for the Toxic, which is a great play on my opponent's part, learning from his mistakes in one sense, knowing that he can't touch me really, predicting me to set the substitute, and with the Toxic damage, which proves to be extremely vital in terms of trying to take down my Dwemer, as it counters off the Leftovers recovery, which helps me gain the HP back that I lose from the substitutes, as well as slowly taking me down with the residual damage. So predicting my Shadow Punch again, he goes out into his normal type Mellow Air, but I decided to switch up moves, actually thinking the Earthquake would hit for more damage on the Hitmontop, which goes to my favour as he brings in the Mellow Air, which is easily going to take out from that range, and he now gets a free switch back into his Hitmontop, hoping to get that Intimidate off on me to try and lower my attack, but of course it's not going to happen, as I'm sat behind the substitute, and we're actually talking on Skype as we were having this battle, and he messaged me and was like, derp, as he tries to go for the rapid spin, which is definitely not going to happen, being that ghost typing. So yeah, I'm sitting here pretty strong now, as he brings out his Rotom Heat, as my Dwemer has taken down 2 of his Pokemon already, and being sat behind the substitute now, I can freely fire off a Iron Fist boosted Focus Punch, as he actually learned something new as he tries to go for the trick, thinking that it would break through my substitute, but of course it doesn't. It was probably going to be trying to trick me a Choice Specs or a Choice Scarf, but again that's not going to happen, and he very foolishly lets his Rotom Heat die there very easily, which otherwise could have been a huge offensive threat to my team. So he brings out the Suicune now, who can easily take the hits from my Dwemer, but from the range, know that I'm probably going to die to Toxic damage the following turn. I decide to leave my Dwemer in this Death Fight to try and get as much damage off on the Suicune as possible. So I go for the Earthquake. I end up getting a critical hit, and I'm just watching his HP go and go, and it just livers with like -5 HP, and even after Leftovers and Toxic damage on both sides of the field, you can see that we are both living with just a slither of HP. So I'm thinking, looking back in this video, if I went for the Focus Punch, I probably could have got the KO there if the critical hit stayed, as the Focus Punch is 150 base power plus the Iron Fist, whereas the Earthquake is 100 base power plus the Stab, which is only 150. So knowing that we're both going to die to the Toxic damage now, at the end of the turn, I decide to leave my Golokin as a Death Fire, as he does with his Suicune, and it's now a double down, as we're able to get a free switch into anything. But of course, he's down to his last Pokemon now, as he's only taken down my first, so I'm left wanting to go for the 5-0 win. I go into my Killer Queen, who can easily take the fighting type moves, which is resisted, as well as being able to sponge them Leaf Blade attacks that only hit for neutral damage. But of course, he gets a critical hit, which is definitely completely ruins my 5-0, my hopes to win 5-0 in this UU match. So knowing that I can predict in the Leaf Blade now, I decide to switch out into my God of Lightning, who can quad resist the grass, I was about to say leaf, then the grass type moves, and then Revenge kill it off with the Heat Wave being faster than the Virizion with the Choice Scarf item. But he actually still outspeeds, which completely surprised me. I've had that happen to me a few times now with Zapdos still getting outspeed, especially from the likes of Mine Chow, even with the Choice Scarf. But again, I'm able to kill it off with the Heat Wave, but of course that misses again, and he's able to get the Synthesis off and heal up that HP. And so my 5-0, my hopes for winning 5-0 in this battle have just completely gone now because of hacks. But again, I'm not going to complain. I've quite easily got the game in the bag, and hacks is just completely part of the game, which makes this battle a little more interesting, where the 5-0 win is now completely gone, as he is able to kill off my Zapdos now with the Stone Edge after finally hitting the Heat Wave, bringing them down to near enough the same range as the Fire Blast did originally. So going into my Slowbro now, who's actually my Fast Bro, and the reason why he's my Fast Bro is because of this next move you can see now after he gets the Synthesis off. And yeah, so as I said, my Slowbro is going to use Trick Room and now becomes the Fast Bro of the team, which means that with the Trick Room, once the Trick Room is activated, the slowest Pokemon on the field goes first, meaning now that my Slowbro is the fastest Pokemon out of the two here. So with the after setting up the Trick Room, I actually want to try and get a free switch into my Snorlax, knowing that if he was to predict my hard switch into my Snorlax and go for the close combat on the switch, then he could potentially OHKO me from that range, and then even more so win the game. And knowing that I could probably win the game here as well, just trying to Toxic Stall him off with the Slack Off. But yeah, not wanting to be that guy and just trying to speed things up again a little bit for both sides of the field. I'll leave my Slowbro in as Death Fire. Let's try and get a little bit of damage off with the Toxic and Scald, as he then kills me off with the second Leaf Blade. So my hopes for winning 5-0 have now gone down to only 3-0 win, but that all changes here as I'm easily able to get a free switch into my chest arrest Snorlax, which is the Choice Banded with the Stab, Return, Pursuit, Earthquake, and the Fire Punch, which can hit for super effective damage. And so that is good game, Kook. And that's a solid 3-0 win with this UU team. So yeah, he did apologise and say that he was a little bit rusty, which you saw with the Rapid Spin and Trick. But either way, you should definitely go check out his channel. He's a great guy, and I look forward to battling him again. So my name's JPow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, favourite this video, all that good shit, and I'll see you later. Thanks.